going on, sir?
Hey, part of the culture, live, here we are.
Yes, we are.
Podcast episode number...
I'm not even sure.
You've done a few of them now.
I have done a few of them.
Yeah. They've been getting steam, they've been seeing the traction.
Yeah, they have. So I'm just trying to perfect the craft and put in the work. And we have a saying like, do the reps, and the more reps you put in, the stronger you get and the better you get at it. So just trying to learn my craft, man. So this is a part of the Culture Podcast. I have a special guest. His name's Chris. He's really into trading, and he reached out. And we've been friends actually for a long time, but he wanted to talk a little bit about trading. And so I do a little bit of investing myself. And even a business itself is an investment. You invest money and you hope that you get a return on that investment. So I just kind of let Chris introduce himself. How you doing, man? Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm doing good. Like a part of culture over here was saying, my name's Chris, and basically, I've known him for a while now, kind of got into finance, and which led to trading and stuff, and it's been working out really well for me, and I kind of wanted to come on and kind of share that, you need to be into people and invested into people and invested into the returns that you get from making those connections, and there's more to it than just, making it appear out of thin air. You got to work for it. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about that.
Why did you want to talk about investing? What made you just want to go there out of all of the things we could have possibly talked about? Why investing?
Well, at the time, before I got into it, I was kind of looking for a passion.
Yeah.
Looking for something I wanted to do. And then I found out in time that I had developed a passion for analyzing the charts and stuff, and analyzing stocks and money, and of course money is always the highlight. Of course you want to make enough to pay the bills at the end of the day, but
for sure.
I started analyzing that kind of stuff, and I realized that I developed a passion for that, and I was genuinely interested in it.
Yeah.
And the money kind of became a secondary factor after that.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, it was really important to me, and then from there it became kind of sharing that wealth, and I wanted to put everybody else onto the fact that, hey, you may find something, particularly in finance or money, like in my case, that you're very passionate about, and you should follow that passion.
For sure.
So that's kind of where it started for me. And then from there, I started actually trading, which a lot of people don't do. A lot of people like to do the investment side of it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more long-term, typically anyway.
Yeah.
And a little bit more structured, but trading's a little bit more risky. So
what's the difference between an investor and a trader? And you consider yourself a trader?
I consider myself both.
Okay.
I started off with investing. Investing to me anyway, and of course this is kind of, opinions can vary, right? But typically, investors are long-term. They want to buy something, they want to hold it for weeks, months, years.
Yeah.
Traders, not necessarily. They may want to buy something and hold it for minutes, days, but days is even considered a long-term trader as far as like being a swing trader. You may have heard the term.
Okay.
Swing trader, trend trader, day trader.
Okay.
Those all have different meanings in the sense that a swing trader might hold something overnight.
Yeah.
And a day trader might hold something just for a couple minutes during the day.
Okay. So my first thing is like, how can people make money from being a trader? How is the money made?
The money's made a variety of different ways. You can actually, a lot of people think you can make money going up, only when the price goes up.
Yeah.
A lot of people just don't know the simple fact that you can actually make the money when it's going down as well.
Okay.
And you can counter sell and things like that. And there's a lot of other ways you can get into it. There's also, as far as like, you can get into foreign currency and stuff, and then you start talking about money spreads and things like that. But investing in general also is really nice on the investment side, because you can try, if you never want to invest $1 that you need, right? Always invest some money that you're not necessarily using for a bill or anything. If you have an extra bonus or something, put that aside, think about it. I know that old cliche rule of investing 10%.
Yeah.
That is so true though. It really works out, and in some cases, if you can invest more, do that.
Yes.
And it really repays yourself, because that over time, you kind of get used to it, and you look back and you go, oh wow, I didn't know I had this setting aside.
I agree 1,000%. So I have an investment. I consider myself maybe an investor. I don't even really consider myself an investor, but I do make investments. It's just kind of a byproduct. The goal for me is that my money works side by side with me. So I don't want to be the only one working. If my money never sleeps. So
Absolutely.
If I can put it, in the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ, where if on average it makes 10% over, for the last, since it's open, on average, it's
And
made
that would
people
be
money.
a very healthy return as an investor.
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
huge.
10% a year.
10% a year, and so I just always wanted something where my money can grow from all these business ventures, so that I don't always just have to flip it or work myself. But my first, what's the last trade that you did?
The last trade I did was actually on the U.S. dollar against the Swiss franc in the foreign currency world. I was actually betting on it going up a little bit, and it did, went up a little bit. I made a couple bucks on that. With the foreign currency thing, I just started. As I said earlier.
And foreign currency is also known as Forex trading.
Forex, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I say foreign currency because, people may not be used to the term.
Yeah.
Used to the term Forex. But yeah, Forex, you may have heard it referred to as Forex or foreign currency. I started recently doing that in a trading capacity. Before that, I was investing primarily in stocks, and I was kind of doing a long-term thing. I was holding stocks for the last 2 years or so.
Yeah.
If you're ever interested in doing that, if anyone's like watching over here or anything like that, or will be watching in the future here, if you're ever interested in doing that, believe it or not, Robinhood. I know you may have heard a lot about that and stuff, but it's actually free. You can start off and you can put whatever money you set aside to invest in those kind of things. And all I can say is don't listen to the hubbub, don't listen to the news, and don't listen to, what your friends say and stuff. Find something that you're passionate about, that you know pretty well. And I would start there as an investing point, right? Whatever that may be. If you're a surfer and you know that, one particular surfboard brand is really selling nice compared to the others, and you've seen it do that for years, you may want to look at that company. Things like that.
For sure.
Be a nice little pointer to start off.
Yeah, back in the day, before I was really serious, you just read a book about stocks. The first book that I read was I used E-Trade, but then I just bought some stocks and I just sold them instantly. I didn't make any money. I didn't lose any money. But then once I got a little bit older and a little bit more mature, I had a couple extra bucks, and so I actually got into Robinhood. And I tell the story all the time. Me and him talked about it, but it's my Louis V story. I had put aside $2,000 to buy a Louis Vuitton backpack, but I didn't think it was I thought I have a training. Instead of spending your money on something, spend your money on an investment that can pay for the thing that you want. So my first investment was I got a Robinhood account, but the Louis Vuitton is actually an international stock, and it's not on Robinhood. It's only on E-Trade. So for the time being, I just put the $2,000 into Apple shares, and then I waited a little bit.
Good choice for you.
Yeah, I just like a company.
You don't buy Apple shares with $300.
Yeah,
so good choice.
So I sold those eventually, and I got on E-Trade, but then I went ahead and bought, it's like LVMH or something, and then I went ahead and bought the Louis Vuitton stock, which, if I would have bought in the backpack, I would have just had a backpack. But since I have the stock, it has gone up. Just to say, I'm not a professional trader or anything, but the stock has gone up.
I project it will continue to do so.
And the stock has gone up, and it paid me a dividend. I think I've gotten 2 to 3 dividends. So, imagine, and I could still sell the stock, keep the money that I made, and buy the backpack.
The dividend money.
Yeah, I could keep the dividend money. I could keep obviously I can get my investment back, still buy the backpack, and still have made money off the deal.
And that's a really good tactic as far as investing, right? As far as investing, that's a really good tactic. Is dividends. A lot of people don't know about dividends.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a dividend was, and someone had to explain to me, hey, a company will essentially pay you money to hold their stock, and as you said, if you sell it, you still get to keep that dividend money.
Yeah, so that was my goal, and dividends aren't huge, but they're huge in the sense that if you put your money in a bank account, they give you 0.001. So all of the stocks, like Apple has you pretty much get 75 cents per share that you own. I think Apple shares, if we check today, are trading at $175 around there. So for every $175 you put in, you get 75 cents 4 times a year. It's a dividend payout. You pretty much get paid from the profits of the company. So it's an income producing stock. So I could have an income producing portfolio. So say you bought 100 shares of Apple 4 times a year, you would make 700. Was that seven? It makes $75.
Quick math, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, you make $75
Right.
4 times a year.
Currently at 170.50.
Yeah, so Apple's trading at 170, 170. So yeah, so I wanted to have stocks, and so the thing is, and the next level up from a dividend stock is that, so you buy the stock can go up or it can go down. You're hoping that it goes up at least 10% per year. So that's the first way you make money.
Right.
The second way is you have the dividend stock, which 4 times a year you actually get cash deposited directly into your
And that's
account.
key, every quarter.
Yes,
a lot of
every
people don't
quarter.
know that. That's every quarter, and that's not annually.
Yes, every quarter, so 4 times a year. Then you can super level it up and you can reinvest that
Those
dividend
earnings
back into, so now your stock could go up 10%, and the money that they're giving you can reinvest right back into the company, and it automatically makes your investment. So the money that I put into Louis V and Apple has a dividend stock. So even if I don't invest a dime, and the stock can go up or down, my investment is constantly growing. So that's one of the values of being an investor. Yes, I can lose money. You can lose money on these investments. But if you look historically and have a little bit of faith over time, if you do a 5-year hold for 5 years, your money has a good chance of growing.
Well, not only that, it can grow exponentially. Let's just take that example, right?
Yeah.
If you were to take $100 and you were to put it into a stock and you bought, XYZ shares using $100, and let's say that you got a dividend payout of $10 and put that $10 right back in.
Yeah.
But let's say the stock goes up the next day by 20%. It didn't go up by 20% of $100 for you. It went up by 20% of $110.
Yeah.
And that's where the money, I believe there's a term for that, and it's escaping me at the moment, but essentially
Compound interest.
Compound interest, thank you. Yeah, we were just talking about that earlier, where essentially it just builds upon itself, and it really, if you can generate that kind of results from your investing, you're doing really well. You're doing good. A lot of people are a little intimidated by it because they think, penny stocks, and I've heard about those, and blue chip stocks, the bigger stuff, right? And a lot of people don't realize, by definition, a penny stock is anything less than $3.
Okay.
A lot of people think, because you hear penny stock, it's less than $1.
Okay.
So
have you invested in any penny stocks?
Absolutely.
Really?
Those have been my majority of my gains.
Really?
Absolutely.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've never invested. I've never even looked into a penny stock.
Yeah, I made good money off penny stocks.
That's crazy. So, how? Like, what's so?
It was a lot like what I said earlier. I kind of had something that I was passionate about and I knew was growing. I had multiple friends in the business and industry who had already had investments, so I saw that it was growing.
Yeah.
I just kind of jumped in. I started investing in Canadian stocks.
Okay.
And I started investing in Canadian penny stocks.
Okay.
And from there, they started going up about a year and a half into it. And then I started learning about, this is going to sound really weird, but I started wanting to learn, why does it go up?
Yeah,
Why does the
not
price
weird.
go up or down? And
Yeah.
supply and demand, and it may sound so basic, but what goes into supply and demand?
Yeah.
And I mean the economic side of it, the fundamental side of it. And then from there, it kind of became a slippery trail, technical indicators and such, and then trading and so on and so forth.
See, I haven't gotten that deep into trading. I keep it so basic. I literally look for a company I think will be successful in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I just look at, like, for example, like with Apple, I just feel like I'm a hard consumer to clothes. Like, I'm such a minimalist. I don't really want a lot of stuff. But I have an Apple iPhone. I have an Apple computer. I have earbuds. So I invest in Apple a lot. Apple's coming out with, like, self-driving cars. I think that they have billions of dollars in the bank, so they have an R&D department and a machine that they have to succeed. Everyone, 50% of phones out there are Apple phones. I have an Apple TV. So it was just a natural thing. I'm like, I like this business. And if I like this, other people will like this. And then when you just look at, like, they had $1 billion in revenue. Like, their profit was in the billions.
Well, not only that, but they have their target audience is almost everybody at this point, right?
Yeah.
And they have majority of the world locked in, where every 2 years you essentially need to renew your phone and get a new phone or whatever it may be. And so it's a very safe, good bet for an investor. You're pretty much guaranteed that money. That's why they're a part of FANG, right? And if people don't know what FANG is,
I don't know what FANG is.
Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google, kind of the 5 major stocks of the stock world, FANG.
All right, I didn't know that. That's very interesting. So that, but I never gotten into the charts and like dipping and then I just more use my instincts. So I know that I think that the high, I think Apple's gonna go higher. And so if I see a dip, or if I see a 10% dip, or where it's 170 right now, if I seen it go to 150, I don't think it's going to stay at 150 because they can develop any. So I might buy, since I think it's a little bit lower. It's almost like a discount.
There's a term for that called buying the dip.
Yeah, so I buy
the dip. Yeah, but there's also a little good nugget I used in reference to Apple and bigger stocks like that. Buy the rumor, sell the news. I mean that. Check that out. Buy the rumor, sell the news.
What does that mean?
It means if you know that Apple every 2 years or every year is going to release an iPhone, right? And you know that phone, realistically, historically speaking, keep in mind stocks and everything is based a lot off of history. If you look into that and you see that every October this phone's going to come out, go ahead and buy in January. And when that phone hits and that stock rises in October every year on time, sell. Buy the rumor, sell the news. And that's if you're going to trade bigger blue chip stocks like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
a lot of people don't think about other fields. AI, healthcare, blockchain technology. Not so much the cryptocurrency that it powers, but the technology behind cryptocurrency, blockchain. There's a lot of other aspects and fields, and of course you have oil and gold.
Yeah. I also invest in garbage. So I invest in 2 garbage companies. I don't have big holdings, but I just invested, I literally just bought 1 share of each because Bill Gates, everyone talks about his philanthropy, but Bill Gates has a for-profit fund. And one of his biggest holdings is a garbage company because every time you take out the trash, someone's getting paid off of that.
Absolutely.
And it's a publicly traded company. And that trash is going nowhere. And as we grow as a society, the trash needs are going to grow. So it's just a growing business. And so it's a dividend paying stock. And so I actually invested in the garbage business. So I'm not only in technology, and then I'm also have holdings like I said in Louis Vuitton. Not little known fact, but I'm working in a nightclub. We're at Avery Lounge right now. This is sponsored by Avery Lounge. But a little known fact is that Louis Vuitton owns Burberry. They own a bunch of luxury brands. So Louis Vuitton owns Burberry.
I actually did not know that myself.
And then Louis Vuitton also, it's LVMH or something like that. Louis Vuitton owns Hennessy and Moet.
Now, I knew that. I heard about that merger happening a couple years ago.
Yeah.
This was a merger recently that happened, but I did not know that they own Burberry.
So
They're on a roll right now.
They actually own, I can't think of, I don't
See,
want to
be
quoted.
I mean, why wouldn't you invest in that? You don't have to buy some.
Hennessy's huge right now, and it has always been huge. If you ask, in my industry, in the hip hop industry, so if you ask most people, do they drink Hennessy? So I'm invested, and then it's like every girl wants a Louis bag. Almost every girl. There's always the exception to the rule. So why not naturally invest in Louis Vuitton? If everyone every weekend, and it's like iPhone, you have to wait till October for someone to reconsume that product. Or I just bought a charger today. My old charger had to break. People drink Hennessy, right? There's someone drinking Hennessy right now. There's someone ordering another shot of Hennessy right now. There's someone ordering a bottle of Moet right now.
Hey, facts, when we had the Great Depression, there was a few things that still continue to sell. Alcohol and tobacco were 2 of them.
Yeah, so
saying.
That's like, I never looked at charts, but I just instinctually, I was like, people buy Hennessy, people like Louis Vuitton. I don't really see, I feel like, we were talking about millennials earlier, and I feel like with social media, we're very stunt based. And so because of this stunt culture, I just really felt like, hey, why not invest in the stunting? If people want Louis V, let me invest in that company.
It's becoming a lifestyle. It's becoming a movement of its own. I mean, people are putting it in social media everywhere because that's what gives the views and the attraction. So, hey, if that's what it is, then, why not, right?
Yeah. Sorry, we're getting I don't know if there's a concert going on or what that is. But
I don't even know if they pick it up.
But yeah, if there's a little interference, it's like a little concert or something going on. But yeah, so the point of this podcast is to add value, and I believe this is a great conversation about investing in stocks, but why are you so passionate about it? Why is this so valuable to you? Why did you want to come and really just preach this message?
Well, long story short, I don't come from a very wealthy background or anything like that. I come from a background as far as my whole family and everything, where it's kind of you get the job and you work and you don't necessarily buy the house kind of thing. So with that being said, I kind of wanted to be one of the first ones in the family to go buy the house.
Okay.
Yeah. And I saw an opportunity, a way to do it, and again, for me, the passion it really has to be there. I started off. I was really, really big on computers when I was younger,
okay.
and I do that now for a living in my main job. I invest and trade on the side, and with that being said, I lost the passion for that because I did it on a regular basis.
Yeah.
It killed the passion, and so when I found this passion, this new passion here, plus the potential monetary value of it, hey, sky's the limit from there, baby.
So just wanted to change your family history and really just.
And my own personal life, of course.
Okay.
I'm one of those guys that I like to live, and do the finer things in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like to go on vacations, and I like to go shopping, and all that kind of good stuff that hopefully everyone wants for themselves. So,
for sure.
There we go. You gotta spoil yourself. Treat yourself, people.
I like investing a lot because of the set it and forget it type mindset. Because with investing in business, so I have a business. There's two people that I actively have to reach, respond to, and I have to go and I have to pick up some shirts and so I do screen print and embroidery. Just in case you don't know, I make shirts, I do hats. The hats that I'm wearing is I created it, and that's what I do. That's where part of my income comes from, is from my business. But it's an active business. I have to actively go out and hustle. So I really like the idea of investing in stocks and mutual. I just really like stocks right now. That's where I'm at, just because I have a strategy there, just a 5-year strategy. I have the 5 stocks that I own. I want to own 100 of each of them, and then
very good number to start.
Yeah, that's just what I came up with.
Right.
And then in 5 years, I'll evaluate my investment strategy.
First stock, true story. First stock I ever bought, 25 shares.
Yeah.
Now, every stock I buy is at least 100 shares.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's because stock is about volume, right?
Yeah.
If you buy a $10 stock and it goes up by $1, hey, you made $1. If you have 100 of those $10 stocks, you just made $100.
Yeah, it is about volume. Hustling is a volume.
It's very much a learning thing, isn't it?
It is.
You know what I mean? Even just from buying your first stock, and getting into the market and learning how to get in there with your money.
I think it is a learning. I will say that it is a learning experience. It's huge, but it's also very basic. If you want to learn more about investing, the best person I believe to listen to is Warren Buffett. Investing is investing in a business. That's all you're doing.
Yep.
If you think a business is doing good, you're literally, I'm at Avery right now. It's almost like me saying damn, Avery's doing good. Let me invest money into that business, and then they use that money to produce more business, and you get your money. If that business grows, your money grows. If sometimes the business doesn't do good or they make the wrong moves, we all know about Enron, and you've heard these things, but so it doesn't always work out. But investing is very basic, but you can always learn so much. I would say a good tip is E-Trade. Buy one share in something, and now you have access to E-Trade, and E-Trade has a learning center that is crazy. They'll tell you about options, they'll tell you about stops and charts.
The power of YouTube as well.
The power of YouTube.
I've learned so much about trading and different types of techniques and indicators off of YouTube for free.
I
absolutely
agree.
free.
10,000%. I learned even as simple this whole podcast setup. I learned how to do it off of YouTube. The camera that's recording it, I chose that camera based off of YouTube. How to set up the mics and record this audio and get it onto an iPhone, I learned off of YouTube. About dividend stocks, I learned from YouTube. So, and YouTube and the E-Trade app. But I agree 1,000% that YouTube is a great learning resource.
So when it comes to stocks, actually, I was going to ask you about that earlier. So before we got started here, when it comes to stocks, right? And maybe not you personally, but just in general, when you think about stocks as an investor, do you buy stocks with the idea that you're going to hold them long term for years and never ever sell them? Or do you buy stocks with the idea that, okay, it may have dipped down a little bit like it recently did in December? A lot of people who are investing may know what I'm talking about. and then you kind of get, oh, should I sell them or should I not? Some people are unbothered by that. And what's the psychology behind that once you do take a loss?
So my strategy, again, is very basic. I said that unless I just really get the itch to sell it, I'm going to hold all of these stocks for 5 years. I have a thinking behind it. It really comes from inflation, but no matter what happens to these stocks, I'm going to buy 100 of them, and I'm going to make a decision of whether to buy or sell in 5 years. On my 37th, I'm 33 now. I've already been holding for a year. So I have about 4 more years that I'm just gonna continue to buy. I don't care if it goes up, I don't care if it goes down. I'm just gonna continue. What I do is I save 20% from my business, I put into the stock market. I get 10%.
Wow, that's a great number.
So I put into the stock market. So then I wait till that number goes to $1,000 and then I purchase the stock. So what I mean by that is I have a brokerage account, E-Trade brokerage account. You can transfer money to be ready to be traded to your eBay brokerage account. So I leave, like right now, I think I have like $300 just chilling that could be invested. Once that number gets to 1,000, then I'll invest that into getting to 100 stocks in whichever one I think is the best choice for the moment.
You know what's crazy is this is actually because just listening to you talk about how you go about your process, I can tell already you've gone through or learned a lot of the things that I had to learn the hard way. For instance, one of them being buy your stocks in chunks. If you don't buy 1 or 2 shares here or there, save up that $1,000 and then buy them in chunks because you buy by volume, same way you sell by volume. So these are things I had to learn the hard way. And it's great that you're
the reason
talking about that.
And it costs $7 to buy a stock. That's the cost. If I buy 1 Apple share, that's $170. If I buy it right now, it's gonna cost $177. So that stock has to go to $177 for me to break even. But if I buy 100 of them, it's spread out over those. So now the stock only has to maybe go up 30 cents or 50 cents or $1 versus $7.
But as an investor, you're not checking it every day, right? You try not look at it.
I don't really, since it's a 5-year plan, I don't really have to look at it. What happens though is, as an investor, I own part of the company, so they have to give quarterly reports.
Yes.
So they send to my email like, hey, Apple's having this quarterly report. So if I can listen to it, I'll listen to a little bit of it, and it tells you very basically, because they're talking to investors, but it gives you a lot of like really insightful information, and it tells you the crazy, like if you listen to an investing report, it's like this dude talking, he'll like have a British accent, and he'll be like, Apple shares are doing well in this sector, but so there's called Apple TV. They sell movies and stuff. In that department, we made $4 billion this year. iPhones were projected to sell 1 trillion
it's more
iPhones.
Specialized in detail.
Yeah, it's very detailed.
Right.
So, but you get an idea of
almost like an insider look.
A way insider look, because you don't realize, like when you see Apple, you don't think they're doing billions of dollars in revenue. You don't just naturally think that. But they're selling all over the world. I'm invested in a company that is in every corner of the world. And I make my money is made in helping produce.
Discussing stocks, finance, and how you can turn that into something nice. But there have been times it hasn't been so nice. I've taken losses. I've made money. I made 5 figures here and there. I'm trying to get to the 100-figure mark, right? I'm very much educational myself, but I've also lost money, 4 figures here and there. And one question I did have for you, reaching back, is how do you recover psychologically from a loss like that? What would you say is a good way to do it?
I'm gonna just kind of.
I just gotta shake it off.
I'm gonna take a step back and
take a break.
And I told, my secret to success is not the investing in stocks. My secret to success is my charitable endeavors. And because I give, and so it's I don't know how to tie this in, but this is really what it is. From me, everything I make, I don't like talking about it, but I'll just be transparent, because I suggest everyone give 10%. Once I started giving 10% to charity, and once I started donating a piece of my time to charity, that opened up my mind and made investing very simple. And so,
how so?
Because you become, it's so hard to explain, but you become connected to something different. You become, when you invest,
that feeling you get back from
so when you
donating to
invest
charity.
and it's only about yourself, then you start worrying about, oh man, am I gonna lose money? Oh man, this thing is going up. Oh man, it's going down. Oh man, this is happening. Oh man, that's happening.
Right.
But when you
I've been there.
exactly, and I
the
still, and
emotional
I've been there.
attachment to your investment.
And to your money
Right.
is there. But when you know that, hey, everything that I give goes to a bigger cause, it allows you to take a step back and say, this is gonna go up and it's gonna go down.
Right.
I know that at the end of the day, if I'm gonna probably make money because what I'm using it for is for good.
It's almost like you're finding you're finding a way to almost find your happy place almost, and get away from that, and then not be bothered by if it goes up or down.
Yeah, and it's like, it's just, at the end of the day, it's just money. I've had no money and I was okay.
Right.
And I've had a lot of money and I was okay. I've never had, like, say right now, I just got a check in the mail for my business for a certain amount. I was happy for 30 seconds and then it was just back to my normal feeling. No
Right.
amount of money has ever made me feel like, oh, I'm the man, like, you know what I mean? Or like, oh, you know.
Well, I think that's keeping your emotions in check, and for me, that directly relates to the trading side of it, because I have to do that all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I mean, you jump into a trade and it goes immediately down south or something. You have to cut those losses and cut that emotional attachment right off the bat. And if you're trading with emotions, you shouldn't be trading to begin with.
Yeah, and so I agree. If you are, and if you do, if some people can't handle it, and that may mean that investment's not good for you.
Right.
But for me, I just look at the bigger picture. I just look at, hey, stocks have gone up historically for,
And they will continue to
and
do
then
so.
and who knows? We can't even promise that. But I think about, okay, they've historically gone up. If something crazy enough happens to where that historical changes, it's gonna be some crazy shit. And money probably won't be our main focus when that crazy shit is going on.
That's a very good point. You know, I hadn't quite thought about it like
You get what
that.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
no,
for
yeah,
in order,
sure.
because, and then I think about this. There's powers that be that want it to go up.
Right, well,
These 5 guys that control the whole country, we're little lemons.
there is a
and-
market, and it does
and
run by various forces,
There,
absolutely.
and so I know that those forces have to keep us happy on a certain scale.
to a certain extent.
To a certain extent, because if imagine if everyone lost their money right now. If the stock market just crashed and everyone's money was gone, what do you think would happen to this country?
I mean, a lot of things would, suffer for it. But there'd also be a great amount of people out there who'd be buying up like it's freaking a kid in a
I'm
candy
saying
store.
if the stock market just closed and everyone's money in there was lost, it would be pure chaos.
Oh, absolutely.
So there's powers that be that don't want that to happen.
Right.
And I'm invested in those powers to be that just want to say like, hey, we're going to give these investors their 10%. We're going to make them think that they're winning, and we're going to grow. And then it just become a very, very basic. That's a little bit deeper topic, but
Yeah.
that's what I really believe. And the reason I believe that, there is very basic evidence to show that. Look at what happened when the stock market did go crazy. The government,
2008, the housing crash.
the housing crash, and banks
also-
almost closed.
The .com boom in 99.
Banks, the government came and bailed everybody out
Yep.
with fake money. I could go deep.
It's got to go somewhere, right?
But they bailed everyone out, and then everyone got to go back to being happy, and you seen the housing market bounce back, and you seen the stock market hit new heights. So I just know that there's a force out there that doesn't want us to lose, not because they care about us, but because they care about themselves and their country. And they can't,
I mean, to say that the wealthy don't want to stay wealthy and essentially keep the poor down, I think that'd be ludicrous. I think it's absolutely the truth, and I think that's the force you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been doing that. I mean, all the way back to medieval times and stuff. It's always been that way, historically speaking. And I'm really big on history because it does repeat itself.
For sure. So that was kind of my deeper answer into investing, and my deeper answer, like with the charitable things, by being charitable, it eliminates that, because I feel like if it's almost like Avery Lounge. My boss allows me to use this space because I'm doing something positive, and so he's not thinking like, oh, the place. We can think all these negative stuff, but because I'm coming from a positive place, normally you're gonna get positive results.
Absolutely,
So
positive energy.
But if I was like doing some freaking drugs or something, and the money was funding drugs, then now you have a problem. Or now if I don't make some money, I can't get my fix. So now I'm really watching like, oh, did it go up? Did it go down? So
Right.
you're not coming from a good place of investing. So now you're more in.
Well, keep in mind, investing is long term, so
Yeah.
hopefully you're not watching it all the time anyway.
No, I'm telling you, I literally,
Yeah.
I look
Well,
at
not
it.
you. I mean, people,
Yeah.
people watching.
So yeah, it's a game that I would just really suggest. The best person to listen to that I have seen, and he's very basic, is Warren Buffett.
Absolutely.
One story he told, he owns Coca-Cola, and he owns Gillette, and he owns Geico.
He buys shares and doesn't sell too many of them.
No, he's had holdings, but his idea for Coca-Cola is he's like, Coca-Cola sells, we'll say 5 million bottles of, it's more, but they sell 5 million bottles of Coca-Cola every day. He said, when I bought that company, he said, all I had to do was raise the price by 2 cents, and I just made $200,000. You know what I mean? I don't know the math on it, but a
Right.
2 cents raise and he's like,
See, and now what he's talking about, and I'm sure he's talking about much more, but I think what a piece of what he was talking about there is supply and demand in basic economics, in the sense that when you're coming in like Warren Buffett and you're buying 10, 20, 30 million shares, there's such a huge driving buying force coming in that essentially the prices, for lack of a better term, no matter what, obligated to go up, because you have such a buying power like Warren Buffett.
But all he's really saying, what he's saying is like, for me,
Yeah.
if I bought Avery Lounge right now, which is a bar, and they sell alcohol, if they sell 100 drinks, we sell more. We say if they sell 1,000 drinks
Right.
per night, right?
Right.
And the price of a drink is $10.
Yeah.
Okay? If I buy Avery Lounge for whatever price, if I just simply change the price of a drink from $10 to $11,
You can.
I can make
substantially
an extra $1,000 instantly.
Mhm.
I can instantly put an extra $1,000 in my pocket every night. So in a weekend where we're open 3 days, I can instantly make $3,000 more a weekend. I can instantly make, that's $12,000 a month, instantly. It's
Right.
he's not even talking about the investment or how it's gonna go up, or he's just saying if I bought Avery Lounge by raising the price of just a drink $1 on if we sell 1,000 drinks, you
Right.
instantly make $12,000
Well,
more.
I mean, that's if you can directly control that, right? But in
Yeah, if I
invest-
bought it,
in the
it's an easy.
investing world,
Yeah.
it's
So
a
he
little
was
harder
saying
to
he
do
was just
that.
gonna raise the price of Coca-Cola and Sprite by 2 cents, and he's
Right.
gonna make $1 billion. He's
And
gonna
he
make $1
will,
billion
and he
dollars.
will.
Yeah,
Purely
so-
because the buying power of coming in that strong, that price will go up for sure. Oh, the volume is crazy.
So what's your, like I told you my 5-year plan. Buy 100 shares of 5 stocks. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
have 500
Yeah.
shares in
My
5
5-year
years.
plan?
Yeah. What's your 1 year, 5 year? What's your 5-year plan?
You know, it's probably longer term than that, but if I had to put it into a 5-year plan, it would probably be to actively be trading and be consistently profitable.
Okay.
I actively trade now, and there's times I've won money, and there's times I've lost money. And really, won and lost is a bad way of looking at it. I've gained and I've not gained, I guess. Is the
How
way
do you
to put
track?
it.
How do you track all of that?
There's multiple ways these days to leverage the internet. Yeah, apps that'll do it for you.
Okay.
E-Trade does it for you.
Okay.
But I don't use E-Trade because I trade foreign currency. I use MetaTrader. I use E-Trade purely for my long-term investments.
So
So it's all
the-
trackable on there.
So MetaTrader will say, so like for me, I do have E-Trade and it does track it. So it will say you own XYZ and your portfolio has gained XYZ, or your portfolio has lost
Right.
XYZ.
And there's
It-
tactics you can do to change your portfolio as it's gaining and losing as well.
What do you mean?
Okay, for one, let's say you've heard of averaging down.
No.
So averaging down, let's say you buy a stock, 100 stocks at $1 a share, and let's say that like you were saying earlier, the stock price dips a little bit, but you're in it for the long term. So
Yeah.
you know that's going to go back up, right? And let's say you have some extra money and you want to buy that dip. Your purchase price as of right now would be $1. But if you buy that dip when the price is, let's say, at 90 cents, well, now your average is 95 cents per share versus
So
$1.
it makes your shares cheaper.
It's called averaging down.
Okay.
Yeah, there's two little tactics you can do both ways, both going down and up. That'll improve that and stuff like that.
For sure. So your 5-year plan was just to become a better trader?
My 5-year plan is to be a consistent, active trader to where I'm not working. If I can quit my main job and trade consistently as a full-time job, that would be great. I'm at the point now where I'm at the educational phase where I'm actively trading, and anyone who's really into trading knows that you can't just jump right into it right away because you're going to lose your bankroll. You got to kind of go through a long educational process. It's usually a couple of years of hard study.
Yeah, I think if you watch like the
trading, not investing.
If you in anything, this goes for business, this goes for finance, this goes for your life. There's something from I think it's the book Outliers. They call it 10,000 hours. So they say, for me, I'm doing podcasts. They say once I do 10,000 hours of podcasting, then I'll be an expert. So and that's just, they mathematically proven that. They've looked at like some of the best soccer players.
I might have to look into that.
It's from Outliers. They look like actors. They put in 10,000. They were like experts. Like look at like a Samuel L. Jackson. You know, he's put in so many hours. Now it's just like second nature. For me in business, I definitely put in. I think I did the math, and I probably put in like 7,000 hours in business over the last 10 years. And once I get to 10,000, like business has become way easier to me than when I first started. And imagine 3,000 to 4,000 hours more. So investing is another, you put in that 10,000 hours and you will become an expert.
Yeah, I was just doing the quick math in my head. I don't think I'm near that 10,000 yet. I think I've definitely hit over the halfway mark, but yeah, no, definitely. That's an interesting concept. I'm gonna have to look into that. 10,000 hours.
Yeah, look into the book Outliers. And it talks about all types of crazy stuff. It talks about how even like Bill Gates. Bill Gates is the richest man ever, but it wasn't just his. It was a little bit of luck. He happened to be at a school that had the first computer ever.
Well, I think luck plays into it, to a little degree for everybody, for sure.
Like even Pharrell lucked out, and there was like a studio that was right around the corner.
There's luck in there.
Yeah, there's a studio, and they put in work. Don't mind, like they had their late nights, and Bill Gates worked 10 years without taking a break. Like you have to look at that also.
You have to really want it. You have to keep your eye on the end goal. It's easy to get, and you may be able to speak to this directly, actually. As someone who's got a thriving business, but it's really hard to keep a positive outlook and keep your mind or keep your eye on the light at the end of the tunnel when sometimes it can get dark. Sometimes you may get bumps in the road.
I have come to a point to where I trust the process.
You have to.
And I look at.
You have to trust your process.
When I was younger, I used to look at negative things happening as a bad thing. But now that I'm older, let me give you an example. Like my computer got a virus. The computer that I'm using now got a virus. And my first instinct was to be frustrated, but I said, hey, let me trust the process. And what wound up really happening is I'm creating a lot of content. I'm creating a lot of videos. I'm creating a lot of, for YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I'm creating lots and lots of comments, but my computer and my phone did not talk well, and I use my phone a lot to post. And meaning they didn't talk, like I couldn't use AirDrop. So there's a way where you could just instantly file share something from your computer to your phone. And so it wouldn't do that. After the virus came and I got the virus off of my computer, I was forced to update my computer.
Oh, okay.
Now my computer and my phone talk seamlessly. So the virus, which may seem like a negative thing or a dark thing, actually turned out to be a positive thing.
Right.
Find
the silver lining.
You have to find the silver lining, and I look for the silver lining. A lot of my car, I used to have an old car. My car broke down. I was able to get a new car. That car has helped build my business to what it is today.
That's really more reinvesting into your business too. We haven't even talked on that. Maybe that's for another episode or something, but we can get more into detail about how you can leverage what you have and then get more leverage out of that. For instance, now that you're using your car for business, that becomes a tax write-off.
Yeah.
And there's things like that. There's also other ways of investing beyond just investing in stocks. There's a lot of people who have jobs may not have access to stocks or may not ready to take that plunge, but I guarantee we're all investing already and we don't even know it. It's called our 401k. A lot of us may have a 401k at our
Take
jobs.
advantage of that.
Use that
Free
if you
money.
have it. It's a retirement account. There's a lot of people have heard about a traditional IRA.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not aware of a Roth IRA.
And what is a a Roth IRA?
Essentially, I recently discovered it myself, so no one quote me on this, but essentially, a traditional IRA, you put in money over 20 years, ergo, your 401k.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't realize they may already have an IRA and just know it as a 401k. You take out money at 59 and a half or whatever the age may be,
Yeah.
you pay taxes on that money. With a Roth IRA, you do not pay taxes on that money. You can take it out anytime with no fee because you pay the taxes up front. And you
Okay.
may hear that and think, oh, I have to pay the taxes up front, more money out of my check. Look at it like investing into yourself. I personally put about 30% of my monthly income back into myself in one way or another, whether it's through foreign currency, stocks, 401k. I'm always reinvesting in myself, and also do it in your lifestyle as well, because that's a slippery slope. It starts to, good habits always beget good habits. Success
I
begets
agree.
success.
I call it compound success. You
That's
look
an
at
excellent term.
yeah. I think
Compound success.
And so, not to stray from the 401k, I think that is a great place to start.
Let's explore that.
We can't talk about compound success, but I will talk about, I do think the 401k thing is huge. So companies normally match your 401k. So let's just take a real scenario. My company pays me a check, right? And that's what I get. We'll say my company pays me $1,000 every 2 weeks. That's just a hypothetical number. Now, I could take out 6%, which is $60 out of that check and put it into 401k, and my company matches me. Sometimes they'll match the whole percent, but my company gives me, I think, like 30% of that. So every $100 I put in, my company gives me $30. So now I just took my
It's
normal
literally
check.
free money.
It's free money.
Free money, people.
And so if I did not invest in my 401k, I would be getting a check for $1,000. Now that I invest in my 401k, I get now a check for essentially every week or every 2 weeks. I'm getting a free $30. So now my check is $1,030, but they're holding $100 for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I get that money back when I'm 59 and a half, or you can take it out whenever at a 10%
At a penalty.
But it's free money. So investing, you have to hope that it goes up or down. By me investing in my 401k, I instantly make 30% on my money. Instantly. So look into your 401k. It's a very powerful tool. I think it's a great place to get started in investing.
That's why I want to touch on that.
It is a great place. And yeah, so
It's a lot safer. It's a lot more safer for your money as an investment.
So I'm gonna probably spend about 5 to 10 more minutes, and so we could kind of, that was really an investment thing. I think that everyone should I think your first step should be to pay off your debt. I think that you should be,
You know, there's a difference between good debt and bad debt.
I think it should be bad debt free. Good debt is debt that puts money in your pocket. For example, if you own a piece of real estate and the
That's
mortgage
good debt.
is $1,000 and you have a tenant paying you $1,500, the tenant's paying you your debt off and they're giving you $500. That is good debt. If you have a credit card that you went to
30%.
Macy's and you bought clothes and that credit card is going up 18% and no money is that is bad debt. You need to get rid
Pay
of
that off right away.
You need to get rid of all of that bad debt before you start investing.
Right.
So
Invest with no money that you need, like I said earlier. Only invest with money you're willing to lose.
yes. And so I would say a great source to learn about investing in money and very basic is, I keep saying it, Warren Buffett, but if you are in debt and you do want to go from being in debt to debt free to investing, look up Dave Ramsey. He has a lot of free stuff. Look up something called the debt snowball. It's a 6-step. I used it before and it got me out of debt. I just used it again. All I owe is my car. And I have 10% of everything I make from my personal income, not my business, because my business is pretty much debt free. Everything that I make from my personal income is going to pay that off, and that's why I
That's
actually
good to mention that. Anyone who's got a business, separate those incomes.
Yeah,
out.
separate your incomes.
That's another good financial tactic you can do.
Yeah,
Those shouldn't be the same account.
That's why if you heard me say my investments are coming from my business, my investment income, because my business owns no debt, but my personal, I have car debt. So before I can start investing any money, I have to get rid of that car debt. Once I get rid of that car debt, then I can begin investing money. But I do have my 401k, which is coming from my personal. So I do have an investment that is growing from my personal finances. But
And a lot of people don't know this regarding 401k. you actually can take a loan out if you ever in a financial hardship and need that. You can actually get that and repay that money back at almost zero interest, practically zero interest.
I didn't know that. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
about less than 2% actually, really good interest, because you're essentially borrowing your own money.
So yeah, we can. That's kind of, that's we just wanted to talk about investing. He thinks that you just kind of finish. Give your thesis on investing.
Oh, I mean, I could talk about this stuff for hours. I could talk about things like moving averages and all these other type of technical indicators and stuff. But just investing as a whole, I love for everyone to just look into it. If you never thought about, hey, I could let my money work for me and let it make me money while I'm sleeping at night. Money, as you said earlier, money has no time limit. Money has no allegiance. Money has no nothing.
Money does not sleep.
It's also not the greatest thing in the world, as we also touched on, But when we are talking about money and focusing on it, just everyone realize that you can invest, you can do something with your money as far as beyond just getting your money and spending it out and going check to check. I used to be that way. I've been through my own struggles in life, and I learned, and it changed my life just to learn about investment in money and how to manage money and how interest and dividends and those type of things can really essentially change your life.
Okay. I think that's huge. I think that wherever you are in your financial journey, I think you should look into investing. I definitely think you should look into becoming debt free first. Once you're debt free, then I think you should start investing.
Oh, real quick, if you are looking into if you are looking into investing, Investopedia.com. It's a free online invest encyclopedia. I learned a lot of my knowledge there, and if you're looking particularly into trading, particularly in foreign currency, Baby Pips, Pips, babypips.com. A lot of good free education.
I'm gonna have him text me all this, and then I'll put this into the YouTube notes, and so yeah, look out for that. And then just switching gears real quick for our last couple of minutes, what I meant by compound success is I took my business, and once that became profitable, I invested those profits into things that could produce more, that could help other people out. So I had the computer already, but then it's like, all right, so once I made some more money, then now I have this podcast equipment. And then, all right, now I have podcast equipment. Now I have, I can do the Instagram live and kind of teach my information.
Right.
Now I have a camera which can record and broadcast. So it's just been a compound thing. And now that I've had all of that stuff, now my knowledge is being compounded by other people's knowledge.
Right.
So by helping other people, I've gotten better equipment, and I've gotten more knowledge, and people are wanting to sit down with me.
Across a variety of subjects.
Yeah. And so across a huge variety. I just talked about newscasting. Now we're talking about investing,
social marketing,
and so
much goes into running a business. And being effective at it these days.
It does, and you really, and in today's time, you really want to. Your net worth determines your net worth. So the bigger, he's part of my network now. If he knows I do clothes, if his company needs anything, I would hope that
that's who I'm calling.
Yeah, that's who I'm calling. Or if I need investment advice, who am I going to go to? Or if I want to make an investment course, who am I going to go to? And so now I've tapped into. So it's just all been a compounding effect and it's grown. And so the bigger I get, and the bigger my system gets, the more money I can invest in the machine, the more money I can give to charity, the more money I can put in the stock market, the more money.
It becomes to work like clockwork.
Yeah, and the more money, the better camera equipment I can get,
These are healthy investments here that we're talking on right now. These microphones, these stands.
So, and then
dope, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. And then it's a compound thing. We could make a hit rap album right now. It's not. You can use a lot of the tools for many different things. It doesn't just have to be its one purpose.
A good example of compound success, like you said, is you started off with graphic design.
Yeah.
With your shirts and stuff, and now you're doing media. And this all was through the magic of you getting the computer and designing on your computer and working with it.
It's even deeper than that. It's because I've had to close sales to keep you need sales in business. I've had to sit down with many of people. So me being able to sit here and talk to you comes directly from sitting down and talking to my screen printing and embroidery customers. Me being able to text you and say, hey, are you really trying to do it?
And fine-tuning those skills.
And fine-tuning those skills comes from me having to close customers and say, hey, are you really trying to meet? And so it's given me the platform to where I can really
judge if people are serious about meeting. I can judge if people are really serious about sitting down.
Right.
I can judge if people really want to do this, because a lot of people say, hey, I want to do something.
But they don't really want to show up at the
Yeah,
meeting.
and so you know when there's, so this is free, that we're like, I'm not, you know, at
And
this
success
stage,
reinforces your drive.
yes, and success does reinforce my drive. So that's the compound effect. All the skills that I learned in business, I'm instantly able to use in podcasting. So if I just started my podcasting career, I may not be as comfortable getting guests or setting up, and then it's even crazier compound. I'm a bartender. I'm
Right.
using the nightclub that I bartended at.
That's a great venue to get that word out there.
You know, and so now it's just it's just compound success. So all of these things that I have learned have created the product that people are seeing today.
Real quick prediction before the end of this episode of podcast. If these podcasts take off and he has to do animating his own, like, you know, intros and outros, well, now he's working with animation programs and music. Another great example
Yeah.
of compound success.
It is, and it's just, it is a compound effect. So we're gonna kind of wrap it up. How can people find you on the internet? Or
I try and be really, I'm not big on social media. I try and be
That's
pretty
fine.
private these days. You know, I love to say that I'm trying to make a following and all that, but I'll put it this way. If I ever do make a following, particularly towards trading and investing, I'll know who to go to help me kind of get that social push off the ground.
For
But
sure.
Pretty private these days.
If you do want to find me, you can find me at partoftheculture.com, or you can find me on Instagram at partoftheculture, and you can follow my Facebook page, which is all Part of the Culture, spelled normal, Part of the Culture. I also have a free guide. It's a book, a free book that you can get if it's on Instagram under Part of the Culture. The link is in my bio. It's kind of how I found success in business. It's a guide that I wanted to write for myself and to other people that I wish was written for me. It's the 10 steps to level up in business is the name of the book. And it's just 10 principles. Number one being mindset. You have to believe in yourself, and there's things about sales and putting in work, but that's completely free.
Very
You can
well
get
put
that.
together.
Yeah, you can get that link.
checked it out.
Thank you. But link is in the bio. I really, really appreciate you coming out.
Of course, brother. Absolutely.
So yeah, we're gonna shut this down. I just want everybody to have a blessed evening, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Make the most of your money, people.
Make the most of your money.
Let it work for you.
So that's done. Adios.
Like, why won't it end?
Oh, I turned it around.
I've never done the live before. My first live.
I had 2 stairs. I have to get the other
You
one.
trying to live on deal? I got nervous, bro. I was like, oh, whoa, okay, we live right now. I was like, there's no editing with that.
So let's take a couple pictures.